Mortal Kombat 1 has pretty much come to an end. At least that's the conclusion most people are coming to ever since yesterday when NRS and WB announced the definitive edition of Mortal Kombat 1. This definitive edition of the game is what Ultimate was to Mortal Kombat 11. It's the final incarnation of this game, and so it's going to include pretty much everything. There is a part at the end of the trailer where they say, "and more." I'm saying that with quotes, "and more." And that's leading some people to think that maybe new content is on the horizon. But honestly, I wouldn't really read too much into that if I were you guys. What the "and more" part is referring to most likely is just the additional content that was not mentioned in the trailer, like the holiday fatalities and things like that. What I think is interesting about this also is that Mortal Kombat 1 actually lasted a little bit longer than previous games in the franchise like MKX and even Mortal Kombat 11. For example, Mortal Kombat 9 released in April of 2011, and the complete edition of Mortal Kombat 9 with all DLC, that came out less than a year later in March 2012. Mortal Kombat X came out in April 2015, and Mortal Kombat XL, which was the complete edition, that came out less than a year later in March 2016. Moving on to Mortal Kombat 11, that game came out in April 2019, with Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate coming out in November the next year. So support for MK11 lasted about a year and a half, so roughly MK11 and MK1 had about the same support when it comes to how long each game was supported. MK1 lasted about 1 month longer, so I guess it's got that going for it. Mortal Kombat 1 had a rough start, coming out with very bare bones content, and then a couple months later the Quan Chi update came out, and well, that broke the online matchmaking for over a month. That's when players really started leaving and going back to MK11, and MK1 just never really recovered from that, which is unfortunate because MK1 had some real gold underneath all the trash. The gameplay mechanics were several steps above Mortal Kombat 11, the breakaway system was a lot better in MK1, character movement was fast and fluid instead of slow and clunky like in Mortal Kombat 11, but that's really about it when it comes to the positives for Mortal Kombat 1. MK1 had those few things going for it, but MK11 was the complete overall package. Sure, it did falter in some areas, but it had a ton of content. And one thing that surprised me recently was that, I've been playing Mortal Kombat 11 a lot on my Xbox and even on the Nintendo Switch over the last 2 weeks. And in coming back to MK1 after that a couple of days ago, after not touching MK1 for a while, it just felt so weak to me. It felt bland. It felt boring. That might be the best word for it, like just boring. For all of its faults, MK11 at least felt like Mortal Kombat to me. MK1 really doesn't. Each character in Mortal Kombat 11 has a lot to their character besides just the way that they look. It's also in the way that their animations were animated, the way that they walk back to the starting position after the end of a round, the things that they say, every single move that a character like Liu Kang, for example, every move that he has looks like a move that only he would do. There's just so much character to literally everything that Liu Kang does in Mortal Kombat 11. So take for example the way that he swings the nunchucks around, or the way that he parries. In Mortal Kombat 1, on the other hand, Liu Kang feels like a boring copy, a character that's trying to be like Liu Kang but not really coming across as authentic. All of his moves look like they could have just been given to another character, so that's one issue with MK1. Another is the cameos, and you already know how I feel about the cameos. They never should have been in the game. They should have just given all the main fighters full movesets and combo potential instead of these weird variations that they call cameos in this game, because that's really what the cameos are. Microtransactions are another thing. It's like, listen, these games cost a ton of money to make, and there's a lot of people creating these games and they have to be paid. They're a company and they gotta make money, so I'm starting to kind of soften my view on that. It takes millions and millions of dollars to make a game like this, so if there's people out there willing to pay for these things, then, well, more power to them, I guess. But honestly, I still don't see how $5 for a skin is a proper transaction, let alone $10. If that's what these skins are actually worth, then honestly, we must be totally underpaying for these games, because just 7 of these premium skins, which added nothing else to the game, just 7 of them would equal to the full price of Mortal Kombat 1. I think for what they offer in comparison to the rest of the game, one of these premium skins should be $1, or at most 2. 5 is extravagant and 10 is just insane, but who knows. $10 should be reserved for a pack of premium skins, but I guess that's what the current state of gaming has forced developers to do. Or maybe they're just greedy, who really knows. But Mortal Kombat 1 dug itself into a hole that ultimately it was never able to climb back out of. The best thing people can say about it now is that it did get better over time, but we never saw the full 180 that we were waiting for. And looking to the future, some people are saying that they want Injustice 3. You know, I really don't think that's going to happen. WB, or at least I believe it was WB, that said last year when the Khaos Reigns thing came out, they said that in lieu of some of the failures that they had, going forward they were going to focus on 4 franchises, and they are as follows: Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Batman, and Mortal Kombat. This is because, according to them, these are the 4 franchises that are killers for them. Guaranteed money, in other words. So with that being the case, if WB was going to fund another fighting game, it's not going to be Injustice. It's going to have to be Mortal Kombat. And that has me a little bit worried, because if they don't take a little hiatus for, at least 2 or 3 years, then that means we're going to have the same people in charge of the next Mortal Kombat game that were in charge of this one. And that's problematic. Ed Boon is fine. I believe his hands were just tied, but guys like Stephanie Brownback, the QA lead, I mean, we're talking about people who chose to boycott the biggest social media platform on earth for political reasons during a time when their fans needed to be able to communicate with them due to all of the problems that their game had at the time. Even now, the QA lead, Stephanie Brownback, who is a man, don't let the name fool you, he's nowhere to be found on Twitter. Instead, he's on Blue Sky, a platform that only Democrat extremists use. I checked out his Blue Sky profile and he has almost no interaction on it, but when you compare it to his Twitter, where he had thousands of followers, I mean, I normally would not care about something like this, but he's the quality assurance lead for the current mainline Mortal Kombat game. The fans who paid for this game need to be able to know where they can contact him and voice their concerns with the game. Instead, he's completely blocked them out. Again, this guy's title at NetherRealm Studios is that of a lead QA analyst, that is quality assurance. He's the lead quality assurance analyst. So let's take a look at what a lead QA analyst is supposed to do. This is how Grok AI from Twitter defines it. A lead QA analyst is a senior level professional responsible for overseeing the quality assurance process within a software development or product development cycle. They ensure that products, applications, or systems meet specified quality standards before release. This role combines technical expertise, leadership, and strategic oversight to manage testing efforts, improve processes, and ensure defect-free deliverables. So, yeah, with that definition in mind, think back to all the problems Mortal Kombat 1 had. Stephanie Brownback was in charge of overseeing these things. And in any company, when you don't do your job, guess what happens? You don't have that job for very much longer. And even worse, he shut out the fans who would have wanted to voice their concerns to him. And I'm sure it's not just him. There's probably a ton of other people just like him, but there needs to be a reshuffling of the cards at NetherRealm Studios, and better people need to be involved in the next Mortal Kombat game, or else it's just going to suffer the same fate. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what I want to see in the next Mortal Kombat game, so stay tuned for that. I'm also going to have some MK1 gameplay coming up, and with all that said, I'm going to keep bringing you more combo videos, online matches, and video game news. I'm SwitchPlayed. Done.